Hello, this is Pixel Freak, and we are doing part 15 of the Final Fantasy Dimensions walkthrough. So we just finished up killing some dragon guys and the Empire and all that stuff, and now we are ditching Soul's team and we are going back to Team Nacht, and we are actually going back in time a little bit because here we are again with the crystal shattering. So the way this is going to play out, this is going to look much like it did when we were with Soul. We're going to be laying on the ground with some crystal fragments, and then I got to pick those up, and it's going to give me those same jobs over again. So the way this actually is kind of formatted, the game actually plays out kind of like two different games at the same time. You have one team of crystal warriors, and then another team of crystal warriors. And they have separate inventories, and they all have separate stats and stuff, but they also have separate jobs as well. There are some shared jobs. For instance, the starting jobs, the White Mage, Black Mage, Red Mage, Warrior, Monk, Thief, and maybe there's one more that I can't think of. Those ones are all shared. Beyond that, you kind of acquire jobs out in the field as different teams, and then it's my understanding you kind of come back together later in the game, and you kind of share, well, you don't necessarily share jobs, but you can kind of mix and match, and it gives some uniqueness to certain members of the party. I'm not sure, though, because I haven't actually gotten to the point where my team members are back together. I love this dialogue. It's funny when you get back to this team. Alba in the beginning of the game she's interesting kind of, but in playing with Nacht's team here, she has a lot more really interesting dialogue. She's a funny character. Like for instance, there's a dirty magazine that you find previously in the game on Soul's team, and him and Sarah, I think, is who the female there is. They kind of have this kind of weird banter, but Sarah's kind of like this innocent girl persona. And with Nacht, when Nacht finds a dirty magazine on this team, Alba goes to question him, and you're like, oh, this is going to play out very similar to the way that it did with Soul and Sarah, and it doesn't. And instead, Alba takes the forefront and grabs the dirty magazine, and she's all like, wow, this girl looks pretty. So it's kind of funny because Alba's this very much I don't know how to describe her, dirty little girl almost. She much more outgoing, much more straightforward, having no shame. But it's kind of funny to see that, because you don't usually see that persona played out in video games. You don't see a person like that, and so it's, I don't know, refreshing, interesting almost. So I think you got some job points in there as well. I don't know, I don't recommend really using those right away. I did cut out the fights while you're coming back out of the Crystal Temple, because I do believe the enemies are the same as when you were fighting them on the way in. So there's not really anything new here. I left the fights in for once you get out of the temple. Also, if you've been keeping up with this, this has been kind of pitched as a walkthrough, but I think I'm going to kind of pitch it going forward after these next couple videos as more of a walkthrough playthrough. I might even do the dialogue live on some of these, which I know is more typical of a playthrough, because those people usually aren't going to get 100%, and it's more of a, hey, look, I'm playing the game. I think I'm going to do kind of a hybrid where I do want to try to go get everything out of the game, but at the same time, I need to reduce the amount of time that I'm spending on this thing so I can get it published as fast as possible. So here we go, back outside. And this is actually a pretty quick video. I think this is only about 10 minutes long. So you go outside and you can see the landscape's very much changed for Nacht and his team. You find this boat out here. Little bit of dialogue here. Once you go back in the cabin, there's a save spot and an inn, a free inn. It's actually just a bed. There are also, I believe, some items on this bed, or on this boat as well. But I think I picked those up in the next video. So don't forget about these beds here, because once you dock at your destination, it's a good idea to grind. Do a little bit of grinding, because this team is severely underleveled at this point, and the enemies do increase in difficulty fairly quickly. So it's a good idea to just kind of hop off the boat, do a bit of grinding for a while, and then proceed. But for now, I don't know, just keep going on. Do this sailing point. There are going to be a couple fights on your way to wherever it is you're going. And Nacht there, who knows where he's going. I'm just sailing, dude. That's just never a good idea. Get on a boat. I'm just going to go sailing. But anyways, the playthrough, walkthrough, I think I'm gonna kind of pitch it as both, and I might actually change all the titles for the whole thing to walkthrough / playthrough. Because I don't know this game front and back, so it kind of seems unjust to call it a walkthrough. Just because, I don't know, walkthroughs are generally games I've played over and over and over again, and I know where everything is. But a playthrough, it's not really a playthrough either, because I'm trying to get everything, and I think this is a little bit more formal than a playthrough. So I'm gonna go with a hybrid approach. So it's kind of interesting because you're seeing the story from two different sides now, because you have to think all the things you learned with Soul's team, you go back to Nacht's team and they all don't know what's been going on. Everything with the Empire, they're oblivious to, which is kind of cool. It's an interesting way to spin a story, I think. So be mindful. I don't think I was very mindful here of what my jobs were and what I was doing before I got on the boat. Hopefully you watched this before you played this part, or maybe not. But be mindful of your jobs and your equipment before you get on the boat, because there's a fight. This fight, it can go easily. Probably easier than how I fight it here. You got him with sticky goo. That's dirty. Dirty bloodsucker. You know what's funny is they sail this boat. Like, you get on the boat, there's holes in the boat, and they're like, yeah, let's go sailing. Sounds like a great idea. I'm pretty sure that's how Life of Pi started. And that's what I love too. They get out there, and then two octopi attack them, and they're like, we're docking now. They started out with a boat with holes in it. It was the dumbest thing to even leave in the first place. The wheel won't budge. I love this. Very dramatic. Look how the boat's weaving. Very dramatic boat movements. One of the great things about these earlier, well, I call this an earlier Final Fantasy type game, even though this is a very recent game. One of the really cool things about these games is because they're not able to show human reaction, emotion, and there's no voiceovers. It does give a certain level of allowing you to play that out in your head. It allows this buffer for creativity and imagination, which a lot of people have actually kind of hypothesized. That's why some of the earlier Final Fantasies are a lot better to some people. It's because you are the one doing all of the voice acting. You're the one creating the game, and because it's you in your mind doing it, it's a custom tailored experience. So your own imagination makes the game to be the game you want it to be, which I think is actually a pretty valid argument, and it's actually very insightful if you ask me. That's kind of a cool way to look at it. I kind of actually agree with that. When voiceovers first came out, I thought it was really awesome, and then I realized that I thought a lot of them were really annoying. So anyways, this is the end of this particular piece. Not much of a walkthrough, really just kind of a walking around. There really wasn't anything to figure out here. But right out of here, you're going to go ahead and save the game, and then you're going to grind a little bit. And I guess that's it for this piece of the walkthrough for me. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, this has been Pixel Freak.